Hello friends, followers and channel members, welcome to this short but hopefully informative video detailing all of the current mods that I use in Microsoft Flight Simulator. Now, believe it or not, even though there are hundreds available, there are only 10 that I use religiously to make my sim and live streams look as good as hopefully you agree they do. So in this video I'm going to go through all 10 of them, show you which ones I use, why I use them and how you can get hold of them. Let's start with perhaps the most obvious of them all then, and that is of course the fly-by-wire A32NX mod. This is now a standalone version of the Airbus A320 in Microsoft Flight Simulator that the fly-by-wire team have been developing now for well over a year. It gets better and better with every update, and there are several updates a day sometimes to the 3 different versions. Number 1 is the stable build, number 2 is the developer build, and number 3 is the experimental build. You can read more about the different builds available and what the differences are on their website, but the one that I fly is the experimental build, as this usually has all of the very latest features and of course has the custom LNAV system in there, meaning that working TCAS and being able to fly holds etc. is now available. So the fly-by-wire mod is my number 1 mod in Microsoft Flight Simulator, the experimental version. Next up then of course has to be a traffic mod, and for me AIG Traffic is the way to go. It provides liveries and new flight models for varying different aircraft types all around the world. There is literally hundreds of different airlines you can download and install, and this will give you their liveries and, as I say, all the different models available. This works seamlessly with VATSIM if you have a customized VMR file in order to use it. Now, the VMR file that I use with vPilot is available to download on our Discord server, so if you want to save yourself some time, you can go ahead, access our Discord server using the link down below in the video description, check the pilot's briefing room and get the VMR file so that when you too are flying on VATSIM, you can have all of the models as shown in this video just here and on our live streams. Of course, AIG is not just unique to VATSIM, it also works with just the generic live traffic from Azobo in Microsoft Flight Simulator. I don't use their traffic installer, which is another option that AIG have where it injects live traffic into the simulator, because I'm normally always flying on VATSIM, and if I'm not for whatever reason, then I'm quite happy just with Azobo's live traffic for the amount of time that I use it. Really good, loads of models, hundreds of different airline liveries, so go ahead and get yourself this to make your simulator look much more realistic. Next up, number 3 has to be Toolbar Pushback. This is the mod that I use to be able to push the aircraft back nice and accurately. It has loads of little features. As you can see, you can also access things like the fuel trucks, the catering vehicles, stuff like that, and it allows you not only to control the pushback, but it also has voice control as well. You can just hear in the background a little bit of conversation between the pilots and the ground crew. As well as this interaction, actually pushing back is made rather easy. You can do this manually by sliding the slider to the left and the right. You can control the speed as well. You can also use your rudder control to really fine-tune your pushback. So number 3, the Toolbar Pushback, available free from flightsim.to. Number 4 then, speaking of the ground crew pushing back a moment ago, wonder how many of you actually realise this, that all of my ground crew in the simulator actually are wearing high-vis Easyjet jackets. This is a great little mod, free again from flightsim.to, and I think it just adds a nice little neat part to the sim, particularly when taking screenshots, looking really nice and neat. Not an essential of course, but quite nice to have, the Easyjet ground crew. Next up is number 5, and that is the Latin VFR Jetway Pro. Now, I don't often fly to default airports just because there are that many great payware scenery airports available and freeware scenery airports available, all with custom jetways. But on the occasion that I do fly to a default airport, this mod just makes everything look so much better when approaching the gate. We can see the Latin VFR Jetway Pros in the video now. This nice glass jetway with a lot of details both inside inside and out, and when you compare that to the default jetways in the simulator, you can see that there is quite a big difference. A small price to pay, as it is payware, but it affects every airport on the planet, with the exception of course of any modded airports that you've got in your community folder. Number 6 then is a quick one, but absolutely essential, particularly if you are using SimBrief and flying on VATSIM, and that is to have the Navigraph data installed. Now, Navigraph have a beta installer for this. You can go ahead and search for this just using Google, download this from Navigraph, but of course this is payware, so you will need to be a Navigraph subscriber to be able to install the current AIRAC cycle. As I say, I would not be without this, particularly when flying on VATSIM, and really does make the SimBrief flight plans much more realistic. Number 6, the Navigraph NavData. Number 7 then is a recent release for Microsoft Flight Simulator, and this is Rex AccuSeasons. This is a season mod giving us brown dead looking trees in the winter and obviously some nice lush green trees in the summer, but it is a little bit more refined than that. It gives you specific tree settings for every single week of the year, 52 different settings. There are of course some custom presets you can also use to install, but the fact that you can have up-to-date foliage for whichever part of the world you are flying in is really immersive in the sim, particularly when flying in VFR. Even when I'm flying IFR and I'm coming into land and I can see the brown trees below, it really does make a difference compared to the default non-seasonal changes that are currently in the simulator. This is payware, but it is highly customizable and I think very, very worth it. You can even go in and select the specific heights of the trees, whether you want small, medium, which is default, or large, just to give that extra something to your scenery. Number 8 is another freeware mod, and that is just to affect the ground vehicles here in Microsoft Flight Simulator. Of course, they come as default as just generic ground vehicles, but if we use mods free from flightsim.to, we can have the ground vehicles supporting real-world companies which operate on the ground in various airports. You can go through, and there is a huge selection of these available on flightsim.to. I've got Menzies, you've got Swissport, you've got Gate Gourmet, all sorts of different liveries you can have popped onto your ground vehicles. So again, just something else to be able to add a little bit more immersion to your sim. Number 9 is another payware mod, and this is the Rex Global Airport textures that I use. Now, if we have a look at the ground at the default airports without this texture pack in there, they're really rather clean. All the lines look very, very freshly painted. There's no broken or cracked asphalt, anything like that. There's no oil stains on any of the parking stands, and even the runways look rather clean. Once the Rex Global Airport textures mod has been inserted, all of our lines look rather well used and worn off, much more realistic and akin to the real world situations. You can also refine this in the mod as well, and just basically define how much wear and tear you want to all your line paintings and things. A great little immersive tool. Once again though, it is payware, so maybe not for everybody, but I do find that it makes a massive difference, and again of course this affects every airport in the Azobo world, apart from those handcrafted airports that you may have got installed. And finally, the last mod that I use in the live streams that you watch, perhaps a little bit cheeky of me as this isn't currently released, and that is the performance calculator that is currently in beta. At the time of this video going out, it's around 2 to 3 weeks away from it being released, but this is a performance calculator specifically designed for the Airbus A320neo. Of course, that's what I'm flying in this flight simulator, so having this available makes doing the performance calculations not only unbelievably easy, but it's also based on real world data and based on the actual information that Airbus uses in their FlySmart program. So once this is released, of course, this will be available, and stay tuned to the channel for more information on that, as well as our Discord server for more details on its release. When the time comes, of course, there will be a full tutorial showing just how exactly this works and how all the information inside it will help you get realistic performance calculations for your flights. So that is my list of 10 mods that I have currently installed in my community folder for every single time I fire up Microsoft Flight Simulator. Of course, I do as well have payware airports, but I'm not going to go through each and every one of those because, as you can imagine, there are quite a few. Not just payware airports, but of course some fantastic freeware airports available on sites like flightsim.to. If you think there are any other must-have mods that I've not currently got or shown in this video, please do let me know in the comments down below, because I would love to check those out and hear what you guys are using as well to make Microsoft Flight Simulator even more realistic than it already is. Thank you so much for watching. If you have enjoyed this video, please do give it a like, and of course if you're new to the channel, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notifications bell so you don't miss any future content or live streams. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll speak to you again soon. Bye bye for now.